Hi everyone, and welcome to our fun DP webinar once again. We're going to start off with Narosha before I hand over to our other panelists. So hi Narosha, let's do our quick update on NCL.
Hello everyone.
Hi, so today we thought we were going to talk about the solo cabins or the studio cabins because I think that's quite a nice selling point from an NCL point of view. So what is unique about NCL and their single cabins, and then also what is the costing like? Is it really expensive compared to taking a normal cabin?
Okay, so the solo cabins or the studio staterooms definitely an industry first, and it gives solo travelers the most affordable and stylish way to cruise. You know, we know that studio guests or single guests always feel intimidated or lonely, and they never really want to go onto a cruise ship alone because they feel that everyone's staring at them. So this is a perfect way for them to cruise. Also, as far as price is concerned, it definitely is worth their while because there's no single supplement. In some cases, I've just looked at some pricing. There's about an $800 price difference between a studio stateroom and the cheapest inside stateroom. So it definitely does make a big difference having no, no single supplement.
Absolutely. I know that's brilliant. And a question I often get asked by agents is, can anyone who's single on the cruise liner actually access the studio lounge, the singles lounge, because that's quite a important question.
Yeah, so unfortunately it is exclusive to studio guests only, and I think the reason why they do that is obviously because there's a price point to it, and then also just to make sure that the single guests that have booked these studio staterooms get to mingle with each other. So yeah, it is exclusive to these studio guests only.
Okay, fantastic. And can you explain sort of, if we were to say explain the purpose or the difference? In other words, what does the lounge actually do for those single travelers or offer for the single travelers?
Yeah, so it's brilliant for these studio guests because they have an exclusive key card access, and it gives them entrance into the studio complex or lounge. Basically, it's a private area where they can stretch out, have a drink, order room service. There's a big screen TV where they can watch any live games or entertainment, any sporting activities, and then obviously get to mingle with like-minded single guests or single travelers.
Absolutely. That's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I think from an NCL point of view that, what really stands out is this is a unique product and no one else has it in the market. So
100%.
Remember that, and it's really, really brilliant, and it's for your single travelers, a very, very unique experience. So thanks so much, Narosha. That's great. I think it's a wonderful selling point, and we'll get out there and hopefully get some bookings in.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Stay safe.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Right, so now we are going to take you on a journey of Bali and Zanzibar today, which is very exciting. So we're going to end up with the Spice Islands. So I'm going to hand over to Nat, who's moved from chef last week back to her presentation position, which I'm quite happy with because I was quite worried that I was going to be knocked off. So Nat, over to you.
Hey Charles, hey everybody, happy Wednesday. So in honor of, the whole Bali vibe and positive energy, we are very lucky today. We've got a very talented guest that's going to help us through a bit of a meditation. Her name is Dominique Beaumont, and she's a meditation and movement teacher. She's been doing movement for the last 10 years, teaching it. She got her training, her Pilates training in Cobham in England, where she actually, for a while, she was Andy Murray's Pilates instructor. And now she's been in Cape Town for the last 4 years. So, and she likes to combine a bit of yoga, a bit of Pilates, your breathing and your stretching to try and get a balance between your body, your mind and your heart. So in order to try and give us a bit of zen through all this chaos of COVID, I'm going to ask Dominique to come on, and she's going to send us through a bit of a 5-minute meditation. Take it away, Dominique.
Hi everyone, sorry I finally unmuted myself. It's lovely to join you all today. Thank you, Natalie. So in preparation for the very small little session we're going to do together today, I was reading through a book called The Book of Awakening, which is written by Mark Nepo. And I opened the book on this very page, and I thought it was very apt for all of you, because I know that at the moment there's quite a bit of stress and uncertainty in the travel industry. And so it was lovely that this popped up because I think it's quite poignant to share. And so I will take you through this reading, and then we'll do a little bit of mindfulness together. so that you can enter the rest of your webinar in a nice, relaxed and centered way. So it's called the edge of center, and this little saying is from a 14th century Japanese philosopher, and it says, all tempest has, like a navel, a hole in its middle through which a gull can fly in silence. All tempest has, like a navel, a hole in its middle through which a gull can fly in silence. And so Mark Nepo's reflection on this is that he says, from across the centuries, this nameless voice tells us that at the heart of all struggle, there is a peaceful, enduring center, if only we can reach it. All the wisdom traditions affirm this. Still, a deeper paradox of life is carried here, for the gull flies through the peaceful center. It does not live there. The work, it seems, is for us to draw sustenance from that central, eternal space without denying the experience of the storm. Repeatedly, we are thrown into the storm and into the center. When in the storm, we are exacerbated by our humanness. When in the center, we are relieved by our spiritual place in the oneness of things. So to find the center and spread our battered wings is to feel the center and peace within. Our constant struggle is living both sides of this paradox, for we cannot get to the center without going through the storm that surrounds it. Yet the storm of human experience can only be endured by knowing what the gull knows. The storm can only be survived from the center, in how we pass each other from storm to center and back again. There you'll find the trials and gifts of love. So in this very unique global storm that we're in, the challenge for each of us individually, I think, is to find that center where we are able to fly like the gulls. So let's just take a moment to close our eyes together. And if it feels comfortable to you, you can place a hand on the heart, even both hands on the chest or hands on the tummy, just in a gesture of connecting to yourself and connecting to your body in this moment. And with our eyes closed, we can bring our awareness to rest on our breath. So we're going to inhale through the nose and then exhaling through the mouth. And just repeating that breath, allowing and giving ourselves full permission to really just feel and experience what that breath feels like in our body. Breathing in, notice the coolness of breath entering the nostrils and traveling down into the lungs. And breathing out through the nose, feeling the warmth of the exhale and the softening of the body as we breathe out. And as you next inhale, call the gull of your spirit to your center. Feel that quietness within, the peaceful space in the center, in the middle of the storm. And as we continue to breathe deeply, let your breath call that gull home through your center and into the center of all. Next time you exhale, exhale deeply and feel the edge of the storm and the edge of the center. So through our breath, we are able to feel this paradox that Mark Nepo refers to of the storm and the center. That despite the chaos in the outside world, we are able to find and connect with the softer, calmer, more peaceful space within ourselves. We can rest in the fact that we know that our breath is the edge between the storm and the center. Coming back to your breath. to find that peaceful space. That peaceful space through which the gull can fly in silence. We can all take a collective inhale together, holding your breath at the very top of that inhalation and just pausing for a moment, feeling how the lungs are full. And then you can breathe out together, emptying out the lungs and noticing how the chest softens and the belly softens. And then just allowing your breath to return back to a natural rhythm. An easy flow of inhaling and exhaling. And then you can slowly blink, open your eyes. Thank you all for joining me. I hope that you felt for a brief moment at least the possibility of finding that calm center within yourselves.
Excellent. Thank you, Dominique. That was magical as always. I've been fortunate enough to do a couple of meditation and movements with Dominique, and it is really helpful to help you find your inner peace. It's not always easy at this time. So I've got Dominique's Instagram handle there and a number if anybody wants to get hold of her for some of her movement lessons, classes. Thanks, Dom. That was great. Have a fabulous day further. All right, so I hope everyone is feeling all in the zen and in the moment of Bali. That's what it's all about. I'm just going to chat a little bit about Bali and, the couple of places. I think a lot of times people sometimes, get confused, not confused, but like, the Thailand, Bali struggle, what's better, what's different. And, so I just want to touch briefly on that. So I'm in the middle there. I've just put a map to give you an idea. I mean, I know you guys are all agents, so but just so when we're talking, it gives a nice idea of where everything is. So in the bottom left, you can see your Canggu, which is very much a surfing spot. But I mean, anywhere in Bali, the waves are great to surf. But Canggu is essentially where a lot of people go for surfing. Then you've got your Seminyak, Legion, Kuta down the coast, your Nusa Dua, and then in the top right, you've got your three gillies. And you can see it's a short 2-hour ferry ride across, which is not too bad at all. So Bali, being in Indonesia, has always been, high on the tourist radar for Southeast Asia. But I think what really catapulted it up was in 2006 when Eat, Pray, Love was released by Elizabeth Gilbert, and then the movie in 2010. And I'm not going to lie, before I went, I totally read the book, and the setting that it made, it was everything that I'd expected and more. So, if someone is going to Bali, I do suggest reading it because it definitely puts a nice definition and gives you an idea of what you're going to be experiencing. So I'm first going to talk about the Gillies. The Gili Islands are fabulous. So other than, you've got your crystal clear water, your white sands, great snorkeling, great diving, what makes them extra special is that they are pedestrian only. So no cars allowed, so you really feel like you're fully on holiday. Now, the three Gillies, there's definitely a different vibe to each Gili depending on what your clients are looking for. So Gili Meno is very much more relaxed vibe, romantic. It's the smallest of the islands, definitely looking for people that romance, a bit of more of a honeymoon vibe. Your Gili Air is a combination between Gili T and Gili Meno. It's slowly becoming one of the top spots for the yoga destination, and kind of almost, it's a huge competition for Ubud now. And if your clients are wanting to experience a more traditional, more Balinese type of vibe on the island, that's what you would go for on Gili Air. There is nightlife, but there isn't clubs. It's more chilled, laid back bar types of vibe. And then of course, Gili T. I was fortunate enough to go to Gili T, absolutely loved it. It is known as the party island, but it doesn't have to be because there's lots of elements to this island. So although Gili T is very, very small, I mean, you can walk around it in 2 hours, or if you're into jogging, you can do it in an hour. It's got different elements to it. So when you first arrive where the ferry jetty is, that's the main strip. So you've got lots of restaurants, bars, shops, One of my favorite shops I've ever been to. It was a shop that sold a whole bunch of crystals. It's actually, if anyone knows me, it's what I wear around my neck. It's my rose quartz necklace that I've had for 4 years. So it's looked after me. So it's got all that kind of Bali vibe. If you want nightlife, you've got that. What we did was, instead of walking around the island, we hired bikes, and we went along the main strip. And as you start to go towards the end of the strip, it becomes more private beaches, nicer, more for families. And then we made our way around the west coast, or the west side, and that's where all the resorts are. And you can see in the picture, that's actually where we were. And this is where the famous Jul'20 ocean swing is. So there's lots of swings that everybody loves. You know, there's the one in the forests and in the rice terraces, but the first and the original one is on Jul'20. So everyone goes there for sunsets. They've got these huge beanbags, live DJs playing, very much a Cafe Del Mar situation. So you kind of feel like you know, Ibiza, but with a twist of being in Bali. So there's all that element. They also have a fabulous night market, which I definitely recommend that you go to. You can, you know, try Balinese classics like satay or nasi goreng. You know, what I like about it is it's almost like a buffet. You go through, you choose what you want, they weigh it, and there you go. I mean, nightlife, you know, you can have it before you go out, after you go out. There's always that great vibe. We were fortunate enough to stay in a great hotel called Villa Ombak. I'm highly suggested. It's got 2 swim-up pool bars. At night, if you're not keen on the nightlife, they have open air cinema in the evening where you can watch films and all that kind of stuff. So have a look at Villa Ombak, really, really awesome. At the bottom, we've got Nusa Dua. Nusa Dua is more your gated resorts. It was built up in the 70s, and this is more of a Mauritius type vibe. So in terms of, you know, you've got your private beaches. Every morning the beaches are raked. The water sports are great here. So it all happens on Benoa Beach, where the water is very, very still because it's almost in like a little bay. And the main tourist attraction is going to be the water blow that's in the picture here. It's a nice little walkout point that you can go to, and it's where the waves from the Indian Ocean come crashing on this limestone cliff edge. So it's really, really awesome, and definitely one of the highlights to see there. Then of course we've got the Seminyak versus Kuta argument. So I thought, you know, having been to Thailand as well, how would I compare it? So I felt as though your Kuta is very much like your Phuket. Your Bangla Road is like your Legian Road in Kuta, where all the bars are, all the restaurants are. It's more of a commercial sense. If you want that buzzing nightlife, it's full of Australians. So if anyone is looking for a foreign passport, that's the place to go. Kuta, that's, you know, we're all South Africans looking for other passports. So if that's what you want, Kuta is the place to be. Seminyak is very much described for me and in general as the more charming and quieter version of Kuta. What we can find there is it's got more of a case of boutique shops for clothing, a lot of art galleries. This painting behind me is actually what I got 10 years ago in Seminyak at one of those art galleries. Always brings me into my inner zen. And it also has some great nightlife. It's just not so much in your face, if you will. It's more a case of 1 minute you're walking down the street and then you see a whole bunch of people outside, you go inside, you know, you end up watching a Balinese drag race, and then next minute everyone's on the stage. That may or may not have happened to us. It was awesome, and it was just so unexpected. So really, really great. They both awesome. I mean, what's awesome about Seminyak is that it's literally 10 minutes via scooter ride to Kuta. So you can have the combination of both if that's what you're looking for. And I find it to be more like a Krabi and a Koh Tao vibe of Thailand. Then, of course, we've got Ubud, the cultural and the spiritual center of Bali. Very, very popular for yoga classes, cooking classes, and of course, the beautiful rice terraces. There's something very spiritual about Ubud that I found, and it's got such positive energy there. Definitely recommend that people spend 2 to 3 nights there. And something that's really awesome, that what we were fortunate enough to do, was to go visit the Kopi Luwak plantation. So this is the very, very expensive and exclusive coffee. In fact, the most expensive and exclusive coffee in the world. The Italians will not be very happy about that, but it's the truth. And how it is that you go to the plantation, there's a little animal called a civet. It looks like a little cat. It eats the berries. poops it out, and they make coffee from it. That's a very short version of it, and I'm not much of a coffee drinker myself, but it was fabulous and I absolutely loved it. So, you know, with Bali, I found it just maybe a little bit more of a calmer version of Thailand. The exchange rate is great for South Africans, no visa needed. A beer can cost you 17 Rand, which is awesome. In terms of DP and what we offer, which is great, any kind of accommodation from 3-star hotels to 5-star hotels, any kind of budget from 2,700 for 7 nights accommodation, or up to 66,000 for 7 nights accommodation. So depending on what your client is looking for, we can book your ferries, we can book your transfers, we can book all the kinds of activities. You know, the old, there's even Instagram tours, or if you want to go and, you know, this is what the youngsters are doing, all about the gram. Your street eats tours. We also have a Bali Island hopper, which is a firm favorite with Top Deck, and that's a 7-day trip starting at 10/9. So before I leave you, I'm going to leave you with a nugget of knowledge about Bali. There's 2 nuggets of knowledge. The first nugget of knowledge, that in Bali, there are only 4 names. So whether you are male, whether you are female, it all depends on the order that you are born in. So we have Ketut, we have Made, we have Nyoman, and we have Wayan. So if you are the firstborn, you'll be Wayan. And if you're the fifthborn, you'll be Wayan as well. So that I thought was something I learned, and it always stuck with me. So, you know, if you're a mom, you know, when your mom's trying to yell at you and she calls you every single name, your aunt, your uncles, in Bali, it's easy. You got the option of 4, which is fabulous. And last but not least, my most important nugget of knowledge, if anyone is going to Bali or anywhere in Southeast Asia, take charcoal tablets. The infamous Bali belly gets us all at some point, and the only solution I found is those charcoal tablets. Thank you everyone for listening. Have a fabulous day, and namaste. Bev, over to you.
Thank you so much, Nat. That was absolutely beautiful. And Jumbo, everyone, seeing as we're in the mood. Welcome to my talk on Zanzibar. It's one of my favorite islands. I've been lucky enough to get to Zanzibar and see a lot of the beautiful hotels that they have to offer there. It's a small island. It's roughly about 85 kilometers long and about 39 kilometers wide. It's a tropical island, obviously very close to the equator, as most of you will probably know, and it's beautiful weather all year round. I think the most important part of selling Zanzibar is really knowing the tides and the coastlines. Every 24 hours, there are 2 highs and 2 low tides, for those of you that don't know that. And the time shifts about 30 minutes forward every day. So in this picture, you'll see that when there's a high tide, the sea is right up onto the beaches and it's beautiful. And when it's a low tide, the sea goes right far back out, and it's sometimes hundreds of meters out, and all the seaweed is up on the beaches, and some people don't like that because it's not perfect for their camera shots that they want to take of these gorgeous beaches. So it's important to know where things are in Zanzibar, and I always find that's, you know, an important part of selling it. Next slide, Jean. So just to go through the different areas in Zanzibar, we've got the northwest coast right at the top. This stretch of beach from Kendwa to Ras Nungwe on the northwest coast drops more suddenly into the sea, and as a result, it's not affected by the tides. It's very deep waters, so you can swim all the time there, and it's not affected at all by the tides. It's also the most popular and the busiest of all the beaches. Nungwe is very well known for its diving, and Kendwa has more nightlife. Then on down to the west coast, down near Prison Island, that area, or Stone Town, and a little bit further up, that whole west coast. This is a very rocky, cliffy area on the west coast, but it does boast the best sunset. During high tide on the west coast, the beaches entirely disappear and the water comes all the way up to the rocky cliffs. So during the low tides, there's a narrow beach on some of the places, but otherwise there's really no beach, okay? Then we've got on the East Coast, which I say is really, I think, the most beautiful beaches. Well, up north, also beautiful beaches, up in the Rasnungwe, Pendwa area. But on the East Coast, most of the hotels are also on the East Coast, and gorgeous beaches down there. The whole East Coast of Zanzibar is protected by coral reefs. It's virtually uninterrupted coral reefs from north all the way down. This side of the island hosts the most beautiful beaches, I think. They're these broad white sand beaches fringed with coconut palm trees that drop into the sea. It's your classic sort of picture that you would island picture. It's important when you sell it that you know that the East Coast has got the tide issues, and I feel that if you qualify your client properly, you would be able to know what's going to work for them. So somebody who wants to really lie on the beach all day long, you need to maybe find a different area for. But those people who are interested in more active travelers who would like to go do water sports and boat trips and snorkeling, then it's absolutely perfect for them. Although most of the hotels anyway do, if you go into a good hotel, they would have beautiful big swimming pools. So, you know, if they're happy to enjoy the swimming pool and then a little bit of the beach when the tides go out, then it would be perfect. Down southwest coast, to the south and the southwest coast, have never been renowned for its beaches. And the seafront is, in fact, it consists mainly of coral cliffs, which overhang the sea. And the coral lagoons, but it's also where you would possibly go swimming and find some dolphins. So you can go snorkeling there. It's one of the very rare places that you would also be able to just step out of your hotel, literally from the coral straight into the water and just go and snorkel. So, and the snorkeling is magnificent. So then, yeah, that's pretty much on the areas. So the next slide, Jen. Things to do in Zanzibar. There is quite a lot to do. There's obviously visiting Stone Town is a definite, which Gail will elaborate a little bit later on, and as well as the Spice tour, the Spice tours in Zanzibar. You can take up some. We did an amazing trip from Stone Town, actually. We went out on these dhows to a little disappearing atoll in the middle of nowhere. So when the tides go out, these beautiful little beaches just arrive, and they pull up boats, and then they set out this magnificent gazebos, and you have beautiful seafood bras, and you can snorkel and just enjoy the whole day on the beach. It's absolutely amazing. And then obviously the trip on the dhow is always an exciting thing. And then the next slide, you can see there is obviously the Rock restaurant is an infamous restaurant. It's right in the middle of the ocean. So sometimes you can't actually walk to the restaurant. You've got to take a little boat. It's so deep. You can go kite flying, kite surfing, I mean. You can do, you have to obviously enjoy one of the Kilimanjaro beers, which obviously I did. You go across to Prison Island and enjoy the huge tortoises, or even just take in the amazing Zanzibar cuisine. There's a company called Safari Blue, which does a snorkeling trip, which we can offer you, which goes down to see the dolphins at the south coast. So it's also pretty much like the trip that I did, where you get in a dhow and you go out, you have a beautiful buffet lunch, normally right on the beach, and you can snorkel and hopefully swim with the dolphins if you get lucky enough. Then just to go through some of the hotels that we offer development promotions, within the 5-star rate, we've got La Gemma and Roy Palace. Roy Palace is the old hideaway of Nungwe. It's now called Roy Palace. We've got the Amelia Zanzibar. It's a beautiful, La Gemma is absolutely stunning. Then I would say probably one of the best hotels there, also the most expensive though. Then down to Roy Palace, and then we've got Melia Zanzibar, magnificent hotel for conferences, very big hotel. We've got the Tui Blue, it's the old dream of Zanzibar hotel. Then on the west coast, we've got Seacliff, also a 5-star, but at very good prices. We've got some awesome prices at Seacliff. It goes for like 4-star prices. Then into Stone Town, we've got the Park Hyatt, magnificent hotel. If you want to stay in Stone Town, it's really a true Hyatt hotel. 4-star hotels, we've got the Doubletree by Hilton, My Blue, Mackenzie Beach, which Gail will elaborate a little bit on a little later, and then Azanzi Beach, Voi Kiwenga, very festive hotel, full of life, nice for young people, very busy hotel. And then we've got Karafu and Euroa Bay. And then in the 3-star, we've got the Beach and Reef and Paradise. They are very budget hotels, so it's more for your budget or your younger traveler. So today I've had to choose 2 of the hotels, and it was difficult because there are some really beautiful hotels there. So I've chosen the Tui Blue Bahari, which is the old dream of Zanzibar. It's a magnificent hotel. It's got a magnificent big beach, which goes on forever, and it's got these gorgeous palm trees that go down all the way down the beach, and you can walk for ages, and when the tide goes out, it's really beautiful because you've got a long way which you can walk and pick up different shells and marine, and see lots of sea urchins and marine life. So it's truly beautiful. It's only 60 minutes from the airport and 50 minutes from Stone Town. But it's a spectacular. The rooms are beautiful. Most of them are either garden view or sea view. It's got 5 restaurants. That's what I really liked about the hotel. There's such a difference in what you can actually, in where you can go and eat, which is really nice. 3 different bars, which they obviously have these masterfully prepared cocktails. And then it's got a water sports center, which you can at a fee. It is an additional fee, but you can do sailing and windsurfing and kite surfing, catamaran, canoe rental, all that kind of stuff. And then the next hotel I've chosen is on the west coast, which is Seacliff. It is a 5-star, but we have awesome rates at this hotel. They go for 4-star rates. Also a magnificent hotel. If you're crazy about beaches, it's maybe not your hotel because it is on the west coast, but they do have a nice little beach down at the golf club. There's also a 9-hole golf club here. It's only 30 minutes from the airport, 40 minutes from Stone Town. It's got 2 restaurants, 3 bars. They offer horse riding here, which is a really nice extra. And then they've got the stunning jetty that goes out, and the magnificent sunsets at this, out on the jetty. And that's about it. They've got a spa, horse riding, and yeah, that's about it. So hope you enjoyed our little chat on Zanzibar. My nugget of knowledge for today is Zanzibar was the first country in Africa to introduce colour television in 1973. Well, can you believe that? Guys, have a super day, and it was lovely catching up with you.
Hi, everybody.
Gail.
Hi, everybody. Jumbo, jumbo. So I visited this beautiful Indian Ocean island a few years ago, and I fell in love with its rustic charm, because that's exactly it, rustic charm. The Zanzibar archipelago has much more to offer than just the romantic coastlines and the blissful sunsets. It's about sights and smells and tastes and experiences which will literally feed your soul and rejuvenate your body. Zanzibar is without a doubt a dream destination. It's an ideal place to get away from it all, but it also has fascinating history and culture. So Zanzibar is very well known as a spice island due to the farming and the processing of the spices. So you have cloves, turmeric, cinnamon, nutmeg, lemongrass, cardamom. But it was certainly a highlight for my Zanzibar trip. I just loved the fact when we did the spice tour, you literally drive through the countryside and you stop at the side of the road and you just head into the plantations. Your guide then randomly just pulls fruit and flowers and seeds and trees, and he opens pods and he rubs the leaves together and he makes you smell them and also taste them, and you have to guess what spice or fruit it is. And it was actually the first time that I tried and tasted jackfruit. And then he tells you all about the crops and their medicinal and their culinary uses. I just find it lots of fun and I learned so much. And then obviously you can buy the spices afterwards. And then Stone Town, it's the oldest part of Zanzibar town, and it is a must to experience. If your clients can spend the night, it really is worth it. Or if they can't spend the night, then they really do need to go for a day to just, you know, see what it's all about. Stone Town is unique in its own way, and it is a UNESCO heritage site. The famous old Arabic style buildings are used by the explorers, and they're still in use, even though some are rather dilapidated. The streets, the alleyways, they're narrow, they're busy, they're noisy, and also sometimes dirty. But it's fun to visit the little shops and the curios and interact with like the locals. They are really generally very helpful. They're friendly towards the tourists. It's just be respectful of the Muslim faith. They dress appropriately, no alcohol in public places, so you can't walk down the streets drinking your Kilimanjaro beer. And also ask them before taking a picture snap. I would have loved to have gone home with one of the beautifully crafted doors, but I had to settle for a handcrafted wooden treasure box. So I don't know if you can see that, which I use actually as my jewelry box, which is really stunning. Zanzibar doors are a definite talking point. They're made from teak and mahogany, and they grace the front of the buildings. In the day, it was literally a visual statement of the occupant's status in the actual society, and the greater the wealth and the social position of the owner, obviously the larger and more elaborate the front door. So they really are amazing. So after you are roaming and you are exploring and you have done a bit of shopping, another must to do is head to Africa House Rooftop Bar, where you will just see, as Bev said, the amazing sunsets with your Kilimanjaro beer or a gin and tonic if you so choose. After you've done that, you're going to be hungry. But also before you head off to do your sundowners, you can pass through the bazaar, where the locals sell their groceries, so from meat and fish, spices to other produce. The sights and smells aren't for the faint-hearted. I did actually have a few dry heaves, but it's a cultural, authentic experience, and it's really interesting to see. And then at dusk, you have to head to the night food market. It's opposite the Palace Museum. It's right by the sea. So the locals and the tourists just enjoy eating from the stalls that they set up, and you can see that on the top right on the picture. So from skewers of seafood to shawarmas to Zanzibari pizzas, no, it's nothing like the Italian ones, to the very best sugar cane juice with lime and ginger. Oh, it was amazing. But it's a fun place to visit. There's a great buzz, and it's also cheap for you to just pick up a little meal or a nibble. And then if you don't eat at the market, then you can head to one of the many quaint bars or restaurants in the town. The Mercury Bar is another that you can tick off the list. Of course, it's a tribute to Freddie. As you all know, he was born there. And they play live music on the weekends, and they make amazing, huge cocktails. So that's definitely a must. And for those that want to party, they also have nightclubs where you can boogie the night away. I stayed at the Diamonds Mapenzi Beach Resort, which is quite popular with South Africans because it's all inclusive, so it works well, and it's northeast of the island. I loved, yes, that's a picture of me having a little henna tattoo on the left a few years ago. I love that it is quite large and it's spread out. So I never felt that there were a lot of guests around. It's laid back, it's simple, but it's also very comfortable. Whether they have an activities team that play games with the kids, or they'll teach you aerobics in the mornings in the beautiful pool. The food is delicious and plentiful. They have the main buffet, they have a beach pizzeria, they have 2 bars which serve drinks. They've got the beach bar and snacks. The beach villas are an absolute dream. Next slide, Jen. And Who wouldn't want to like kind of wake up to that kind of view? But the standard and the superior rooms are absolutely comfortable and perfect, and certainly serve the purpose. It really is a rustic relaxation at its best. The staff are also really lovely. They're helpful, they're well mannered, and all the Zanzibaris they always do their best to kind of assist you. So Zanzibar really has something for everyone. So if you want the exclusive, inclusive, 5-star experience to your family-friendly affordability, you definitely need to, I would say, manage your clients' expectations when it comes to if they've already been to Mauritius. This island has its own unique and very special charm, and it's fairly underdeveloped with a strong Arabic and Indian and an African influence and a slow pace of life. It's like pole pole. When you climb Kilimanjaro, the guides say to you, you have to go slowly, and that's what you just have to embrace. And again, it's like with the Indian Ocean Islands, and it's like cruising. Clients have a choice. So spend the day on the beach, just chilling, or by the pool, relaxing, or if your clients want to be like active and they want to be out and about, there is certainly plenty to see and excursions to take. So my nugget of knowledge. So in Swahili culture, their time is 6 hours different from world time. So in Swahili, the time is measured from sunrise to sunset daytime and from sunset to sunrise nighttime. The clock determines its time according to how many hours it's been between the two. Because they're so close to the equator, it's relatively constant, like year round, and typically at 7 o'clock on each way. So 7 a.m. Western time is 1 p.m. Swahili time, lunchtime. And that's me. Done. Over to Shelley while I just take a moment.
Thanks, Gail. Well, I hope I catch my flight in time. You can see I'm all ready and I am happy to go to Zanzibar. So the interesting fact is, I'm sure you're all thinking, what am I going to make for you today? So back in the day, Spice Girls was my favorite band group. So do you want to know? Do you really want to know? That's what I'm going to make for you today, is a beautiful spiced tea. So we're going to take our little cup of boiling water. And of course, thanks to Robertson Spices, I've got the whole lot here. So I've got some beautiful nutmeg, which I add. I've got some fantastic mixed spices, some cinnamon, some ginger, and then I add a spoonful of honey. And of course, honey is not really very Zanzibarish, but it's really great to sweeten it up. And you give it a stir and you give it a sip. So thank you everyone for joining us today. It's been absolutely brilliant, and the Spice Girls rock. And yes, I am Shelley Spice. Thank you.